time. Ugh, blasted car! Well, here we are again. Back to the game I said I didn't have much interest in. The game that I compared to an open world Wii U game with constantly. Seriously, if you haven't seen my first review of this already, go see it now. I don't know how much may be brought back up, but I do know this. We have a bunch of new things to check out. The Royal Edition is the latest big update to the game, one that also exists inside the Windows release of FF15, containing most of the DLC featured from the vanilla game, as well as everything that was given through the Season Pass. It also contains original content not found in the Season Pass, so those who have the game already would have to pay a little extra to access these new features. However, for those who have never bought it before, they do sell the base game with the Royal Edition stuff included. Now, while I'm mainly just covering what was given through the Royal Edition, I will try to cover some of the other additions that were added through the free patches. In fact, just to lay out what I'm doing with this review, the first part will focus on the Royal Edition features as well as selected others. I might not get to them all on my own, but I will at least cover what was advertised, and if I have to use other footage, so be it. Otherwise, part 2 will focus on the character episodes that were released through the Season Pass. Part 3 I won't spoil right away, but it does lead into the final part, which is covering the multiplayer mode, Comrades. Hopefully, with all this new and exciting stuff, they'll finally pull out of being a beta and into a full game? Well, maybe not as a story, but let's take a look and see what they did. So first off, wait, this doesn't look different. I mean, it's giving me messages about new content, while also telling me about the old updates that were added in for free. But where are all the character episodes? How come it's not letting me switch characters in combat? What's going on here? Well, as it turns out, for a lot of the stuff that was introduced through the free patches, well, stuff like the character swap is due to something else, but in any case, the disc you get with the box is just the vanilla game that gets updated through the patches. All the stuff relating to the Royal Edition can be found on a redemption code that you have to input into the PlayStation Store. Why do I have to do that? I figured this would be like Tales of Destiny DC, where it's essentially the same game but with the new stuff added in. But you can carry over your save to access everything. But yeah, before I got to taste any of the actual Royal stuff, I did at least check out some of the features brought through old updates. For instance, you can now choose to start at the beginning of any chapter of the game, so long as the file has completed game data on it, which allows you to take back your items, weapons, and gear, while resetting quest data, which I'll bring up later, since obviously some can only happen between certain plot events. Which means no flying car in the past that you can use to bypass everything and skip straight to Arden and save yourself the trouble of dealing with his bullcrap. But you do get one new thing, and that's a new model for the Regalia. Now you can go off-road without having to put up with the gravitational pull that is the road. It does seem weird that you can run over the wired and metal fences along the side of the road, but hey, at least we can run over the smaller enemies. Though Xenoblade X was funnier when doing that.
Small enemies simply by touching them.
You can also jump, which is useful for getting over hazards and the like. Plus, if you get stuck in places with no way to drive out of, you can just hop the wall. Of course, flipping will get you repositioned, and you only have so much fuel and you can't push this vehicle because it's so big. Though it is a little hard to control, plus like before, it can be destroyed if it gets hit enough times. So, even off-road, the thing isn't practical to use. But one thing I need to find out, Can I get past the fence to Insomnia with it? Only one way to find out. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it this time. Blast you, load screen. I'm jumping the fence! Yes. Yes! No! Damn it! Yeah, the game catches you and puts you back behind. They thought this through. Or have they? Apparently, it's possible to warp strike near the car, and if you do it just right... Aha! Gotcha there! I can't believe it. I get to go home without the Armiger glitch! Hooray! Almost there, and... Of course, the bridge has no collision detection. Damn it! And I can't swim, apparently. I was so close. Honestly, this was at least fun to do, since now I know there was no way we could have drone all the way from Insomnia to Hammerhead, because the road runs into a mountain a few times, and a part of another highway is blocking off the main road. So I can imagine people having some fun with the off-road model of the car, but it just feels awkward to use, and since it has a chance of being destroyed, I probably wouldn't recommend it. Now in regards to flying, I want to rectify something. I only now just found out that I can zoom out the camera on the car by pressing L1, just as I could with the boat from before. That does at least improve the view of the world, so you can get some good quality pictures of the world. But... even now, it still feels like it wasn't meant to have flying in it. And either because it's been a while since I tried it, but I remembered why I hated flying in the first place.
Going down!
Landing is impossible. First timers beware. You will get a game over when trying to land on the road. It goes without saying, but if you're going to outfit your car to fly like the Empire's aircraft, let me descend straight down and without difficulty. Speaking of pictures though, Prompto apparently let me have his camera so I can take pictures anytime I want. There was also a photo contest that was around early on, so yeah, not bad for those wanting to explore the world for some good pictures. It's good community stuff at least. Alright, that's all I had from the pre-Royal Edition download. With it actually downloaded, let's see if anything's different. And the title screen is the same. Lame. Oh, but I hear I can ride my boat? Hell yeah! Let's see if I can break boundaries with it. And loading. Yeah, still hasn't been improved on that much. Now sure, at least it doesn't result in something like Xenoblade 2 where there's constant texture loading when you change field maps. But at least I'd still be playing the game and it wouldn't stay like it for too long. This is the PS4, one of the most powerful consoles out there. Do better! Anyway, about that boat. As you can see from the map, you can explore a lot of the ocean. Not sure why you would want to, other than to fish. There's plenty of fishing spots you can find out there, and there is a giant whale you can find as well. No fight or anything, just some small quest you get in Alticia, which gives you an incentive to go look for it. Other than some new rare fish you can catch, I just found it neat that I can sail to Alticia even in what's supposed to be the time period before the big story event. Too bad I can't go to anywhere but 3 different harbors. I suppose I could try to reach the island Bahamut is on.
Hold on. Get us out of here, Iggy. Right.
Hang in there. Who are you?
But I already have your blessing. I have your freaking mark or whatever. I saw you fail to kill Aethrate. How are you still acting like this? Okay, forget the boat. Let's move on to combat. This was one that was actually added before the Royal Edition. Just I didn't know about it until now. But what changed? I'll show you.
Just don't get too carried away.
You'll want to talk.
This one's just for you.
Knocked.
After unlocking the ability to perform this function, you can open up a little menu by holding L1 and L2 and tapping the D-pad to whoever you want. Each of the bros function differently and according to how they were in their respective character episodes. For instance, Gladio is a mix between offense and defensive combat to build his rage meter, which allows you to perform certain glaive arts and do more damage as a result. Prompto allows you to shift between different ranged weapons, like his normal gun, a machine gun, and even a freaking bazooka. This is kind of fun, more than the others anyway, as Ignis relies on you to hold down triangle to focus on multiple targets. And once it's full, you can press it again to unleash the daggers. You can also change up what kind of element the daggers take, and you get this cool high jump ability, but it wasn't until later that I found out you can melee with him to build up your damage output, and yeah, it can be pretty good to use. But often I just stick with Prompto, as it's always fun gunning down enemies with unlimited machine gun ammo, which is possible by equipping a certain accessory, even if there are times where the game slows down because it can't handle his awesome power. Now for this next feature, we need to get every single royal arm available to us. This one took me a while because at least one of these dungeons was a pain in the ass. Had to put on the Magitek Exosuit, which basically makes you invincible to every enemy in the game, with the exception of one super boss introduced in the Royal Edition, though I don't feel bad. Again, this game feels more like a chore more than anything I've played before. But to at least get the stuff needed for this review, I persevered, so now, here it is. Armiger Unleashed! While you have the appropriate item equipped, this increases the power of the Armiger to where after enough hits, you can perform certain moves and techniques, but all the while being able to break the damage limit. Of course, your friends won't be able to participate in certain attacks, and you can be KO'd, but you get some really sick moves to use. Overall, I will say that the combat has improved quite a bit. It takes getting used to with character swapping, and even then the camera may not do you justice in some areas, but at least it's a little faster. Though it could just be me being overleveled. They might have also balanced out a few things, but I don't know when that would have been with earlier patches. By the way, as we look into some more Season Pass stuff, I want to mention that at one point, the Magitek Exosuits were originally going to be based on the Super Sentai by having them color-coded, but due to them resembling a bit like Power Rangers, perhaps even the ones from the then-new movie at the time, they were removed as a Season Pass item and given out for free. As for the Season Pass goodies, there was the Holiday Pack stuff that included several accessories that provide some decent effects for Noctis, and some that give resistance to friendly fire, which should never have been a thing to begin with, and some AP increasing rings. There's also a passport for the Moogle Chocobo Festival that now appears to come and go, as the last time they had it was September of 2017. Also a festival costume. Yeah. The booster pack includes only a few things, like Ragnarok, which increases the power of your Warp Strike, as well as the Dragon Drain fishing rod, and an Avior, which serves in better reeling in fish. There's also the Gourmand set that gives you some rare cooking ingredients, I guess. Some new weapons, including one from 14 and another from 9. More costumes, and yes, even skins for the regalia. Not bad little freebies. It's just not much I care for. Now here's something odd I found with the chapter select option. When I went to past Lucius, I was automatically placed at the lighthouse where Talcat is, where he sends you on a quest to find some Cactar figurines. It removes all your fast travel points, with the exception of the quest shops you need to visit, as well as Hammerhead of course, which means long boring ass drive. And wait, Deadeye quest again? Yeah, it said some quests and things would be reset, but I didn't think everything would be gone. Luckily, I only had to redo the fort invasion quest to get Cindy to make the flying model again, since key items are still kept at least. Not that I would want to fly anyway, but it's needed to get the off-road model, and there's something special you can do with it in the Ruins of Insomnia. Speaking of which, the most amount of additions added in the Royal Edition was to Chapter 14's Ruins of Insomnia. Before, it was only a few areas of highly powerful monsters and a couple floors of the Citadel. Here, it's now expanded to include a few more bosses, a few quests, and all for you to do before heading to the Citadel to face Arden. There's also what appears to be a base for the glaives from Comrades you can find on the way to the Citadel. Core is also here. Like, they definitely tried giving us more than what was present before. While I wish we could have seen Aranea and Eris, it does at least look like they were able to do more for the one character that would matter in this situation. One of the quests you do has you infiltrate bases, then I'm surprised they're even here to begin with Core again, so that's at least 3 times Core is around in the party at this point. And there's even one quest where the glaive you made in Comrades shows up. And just to provide a sneak peek at what I'll be looking like in that, here you go.
I feel like I know you somehow.
I also vaguely recall making their acquaintance.
Were they this talkative last time we met too?
I'm not sure, but there's no point dwelling on the past. Right now, we're on a mission.
More importantly, on top of having Arden actually address your return to the capital, they also added some bosses inside of it. At least one whom is required to get into the Citadel, that boss being Cerberus. And as you can tell, this was probably meant to be played on the PS4 Pro or Xbox, because even this fight ends to stutter. Even more so once Core joins the fight, which he only does if you did the 3 quests in this city. Also funny how the cutscene with him ends with him walking back to base, only to follow up with the barrier destruction scene, and there's demons coming from where he was going. At least the sequence with Luna returning from heaven to have the Astrals take the barrier down is pretty cool. Oh, and get this. You can drive the Regalia in the Ruins of Insomnia. First you have to do those 3 future quests. Then, once you have the off-road D model in the past, You can talk to Talcott, who will give you the keys to this garage that has a replica of the regalia. Only it's in the D model form for some reason, as if to say the king was a real bro for liking it like this. What? Is it even worth it given how much room you have in this city?
Throws at us.
No, not really. They also seem to have updated the model for Ifrit a bit, to show he's been corrupted by the Star Scourge. Now another thing to rectify, whether this was always there or newly added in, was there were books everywhere that would talk about the Star Scourge and the war involving the Astrals, and how Ifrit was in love with Shiva, but something happened before he hated humanity. Like, okay, they do explain why we're fighting him. I just wish it was part of an ongoing subplot that characters bring up, and not just something you have to find out on your own. Again, he's a boss character and not a summon, so I expect to at least learn about what makes Ifrit like this from Shiva, instead of needing to learn from a book. Now, you know how I mentioned that Arden should have made the Citadel something you'd have to explore in its entirety, and maybe get mind screwed by him to make it longer since the outside was so small? Well, since they made the outside bigger, they threw in
Oh, what fun it will be to watch those I revile.
one of the Lucian kings? Yeah, apparently Arden corrupted a few of the ancient kings, which is meant to serve as last-minute character development for your friends. I suppose this makes up a little bit for the fact that you fight Arden alone, and he has no second/monster form during the final boss fight. Plus, during the fight with the Mystic, the gang gets to do a team combo.
Not on my watch. You're out, pronto.
My turn! Come on, Iggy!
No mercy. Go knocked. It's over. You have done well.
This is probably one of the better turnarounds of the update, since it actually feels more like a proper follow-up to all the Brotherhood bonding they've had. So, yeah, the Royal Edition stuff, as far as the new stuff is concerned anyway, is at least worth getting if you have never played this game before, and probably if you have already. Would I say the story is better than it was before? Partially, for reasons we'll get to next time. But even with the character episodes available and other in-game info laid about, this is still not one of the better stories in Final Fantasy, and you would still have to put up with the gameplay being wonky at times and quests that aren't all that memorable. I would definitely say, though, that this is a true case of your mileage may vary without it being outright bad, even with the stuff still to come. Now, the last thing I want to go over before we end the video are the stuff relating to Chapter 13. As part of what would have been the upcoming release for Episode Gladio, they changed something to make going through Zegnoctis Keep a lot easier. Did they make it shorter and less boring? Ha! No. They powered up the ring. Now nearly every enemy in the game is vulnerable to the ring's power, and they made the death spell more instantaneous. There's still a chance the moves won't work, but you can still try, and soon even a boss can fall prey to the power of the ring. Either way, I think they should have waited until after Chapter 13 to show any signs of the ring upgrading, instead of having it now where it would make the least sense. However, that's not the only thing they did for this chapter. There's also a second verse to this chapter, which was used to promote Episode Gladio by letting you play through a different part of the keep as him. because rather than have them go through a different part of the city before entering the keep, let's have them climb the train car so they can take the same path as Noctis. As to how they can fight,
There must be some way we can help him.
Perhaps I could be of service.
What are you doing here?
Why, I come bearing gifts.
yep, Arden gives them back their weapons. The stupid troll just makes it easier for you to get ahead in life instead of just killing you all like he wanted to. But yeah, this is the easy path since it's a lot shorter to take. The enemies serve as a warm-up to the episode itself, but more importantly, we get to see the Emperor again, just before he turns into a demon.
By the hand of the Oracle, they are with the king now, their rightful owner. And someday soon he shall use them to purge our star of its scourge.
But the crystal is mine. I am the one true king.
Nay, it is Noctis and none other. Certainly not a puppet of the darkness and the demons it has borne.
You are the puppet, and you must die.
Yep, one of the big bads, and that's the extent of his existence. Also, Ravis is on our side without us interacting with him. But what's more stupid is how he dies.
You have arrived, Noctis. The gods have shown you their favor. As blood of the Oracle, I present you your father's glaive. Now, go forth, my king. Shine your light unto the world.
So he cut his arm off and he died? What? Oh, and Arden had the letters meant for Luna. That's nice.
It sounded like Ravis tried to return His Majesty's sword.
Yeah, guess he finally got over his grudge. Even called Noct his king.
He got over his grudge. What the hell happened between Alticia and now? Whatever. We do actually fight the Demon Emperor for a bit before he disappears, only to be fought later when we reunite. I'm going to assume the stuff with Ravis will be resolved in one of the character episodes, because this was just pathetic. Oh sure, they showed us what became of the Emperor before he turned, and they showed how Ravis died, but we're still missing what made him just up and decide to trust Noctis when we barely had enough interaction with him. Yeah, this is what I meant by the story still not being the best of any game. Stuff involving the villains and their relationship with the main cast is very limited and either not fully realized or it goes somewhere dumb, which we will see come next video. So while we close out part 1, here's a mod that you can utilize if you're ever playing the Windows version of the game. Enjoy!
SpaceMonkeyMafiaStudios.com. What is it?